Hi, kids. Let's talk. What's been going on is you guys are getting ready to go back to school. It's the first week of school. You're wrapped up. You're excited. You're going to run into a million different things. Sometimes it's like this even when you go to work. So prepare yourself for it. As you're preparing to go to school, I have to tell you, or to work, that you're entering into environments that are unclean. A lot of times when we sit up there and we talk about these unclean environments, there are certain stuff that we have to hit on. First of all, we're going to talk about sanitation. These environments are not clean. So a lot of times the desk does not get wiped down with bleach um, every day. And a million people touch, spit, hawk, sniff, blow nose, everything. All of this is going on. So try to find ways to actually keep yourself healthy during these times by just wiping off the desk, like getting you some Clorox wipes and taking with you to school. Clorox wipes does not cost that much, but at the same time, every time you sit down at a desk, wipe the top of the desk first and then wipe the seating. We cannot tell you, well, I can tell you that there are students that come to school and may not recognize some of the issues that they may be having, from discharge to secretion from the anal area, a whole bunch of other stuff. So just wiping your area where you sit properly sometimes eliminates you coming home. And do not ever go directly home without taking a shower. And you're touching the bed, you're touching the chairs, you're doing all this different stuff. Make sure you take a shower. Make sure you take the pants off, at least, that you wore at the job where you were sitting everywhere and stuff like that. You want to take those off to kind of minimize, even if you're not taking a shower immediately, you want to take those pants off. You want to probably take the shirt off, maybe, depending on how bad things are. Most people just take their pants off. Some people take their shirt off and switch it out with a fresh, clean shirt, fresh, clean pants, because we thought it was just dealing with mom didn't want our clothes to get messed up, but it's dealing with way more than that at this point, but no one's talking about it. So I'm going to talk to you about it. And I want you to know ways to safeguard yourself, sanitation wise, against some of the things that you're going to come up against in school, sanitation wise. I tell you all the time, like, if you're a girl, always wear a pad. I say this for young girls because it is the best thing to do in adulthood, no matter what you are. Don't use a panty liner. Use a actual pad. You never know when your period is going to come on. You do not want to face that type of embarrassment. I don't care what grade you're in. If you're old enough to understand what I'm saying, then you're old enough to understand the reason behind every day having a pad on and making sure that you have a safe space where if you were to see your period, or your period was to come on earlier, you would not face any form of embarrassment, because a lot of times we cannot feel what's taking place with us when those times come. And that's another reason why we wipe the desk first and then we wipe the seating area, because this keeps us safe. This keeps us refreshed and stuff like that. If you don't know, and I go sit there, I got that on my pants, your period blood. The school has not sanitized anything. I got your period blood on my pants. I don't want that on my pants, whether I'm a girl or a boy. So to actually bring Clorox wipes and to make sure you're sanitizing your desk and sanitizing the bottom area, even well into adulthood. Even when you're in your office, sometimes walking into your office and just sanitizing the office that you work in, just cleaning your area and making sure it's bleached and cleansed properly. It's the best course of action. Wiping down the phone or whatever the case may be if you work in an office, because a lot of things go on that you may not expect to take place, but it's taking place, and it's unfair to a lot of people to suffer such embarrassment. So to minimize that embarrassment of your period coming on, or you having those type of issues or any type of issues as a young woman, one of our safety methods is using pads. Um, the next thing, just clean, keep it clean around you. I always say have an extra set of clothes in your bag. A lot of people don't understand, or in your car. So if you got a car, you want to have changing clothes in your car. I remember when I was back doing corrections and all of this different stuff, we were told to have clothes in our car, at least 5 to 10 uniforms, clean underwears, bras, lotion, deodorant, perfume, everything in your car. I tell guys the same thing. If you're going to school or whatever and you're a young man, have an extra set of clothes. Like whether you're doing gym or whether you're just going through the regular day, just make sure that you have extra clothes in your bags. Why is this important for me to have extra clothes in my bag? Why is it important for me to have deodorant? Why is it important for me to have that toothbrush in my bag? Why is it important for me to have cologne in my bag? Why is it important for me to have soap and an extra towel in my bag? These are important because a lot of times you're going to get the opportunity to bathe. You have a gym. You can bathe in the gym. You can clean up yourself, refreshing yourself if you need to. Let's say you forget to brush your teeth that morning. You can put toothbrush on a toothbrush, go in the restroom and brush your teeth. If you forget to sit up there and basically put deodorant on, I already got deodorant in my bag. I don't have to walk around all day musty because I don't have deodorant in my bag. So certain things do safeguard you by putting that stuff in your bag and actually preparing yourself for that. Young women, if you still see a period, like I said, even if you see one and you don't, make sure you're wearing a pad at all times. Guess what? If you that type of girl that like to get hit and quit, it may not make sense to you to wear a pad. But because you're not that type of girl, you're a good girl and you're a clean girl, you're going to wear a pad. You're going to make sure you prepare yourself the right way to be taken in by the world and for the world to receive what you are about. And good girls, certain stuff we don't do. So you have to sit up there and you have to present yourself in an appropriate manner. As a good young man, you have to present yourself in appropriate manner. As a good young woman, same thing. Present yourself the way you want the world to take you and the way you want to be taken in. So, first week of school, you may not have this stuff already on deck, but hopefully by the second week, you seen my video and you started that process and you're actually taking care of those things and preparing yourself same way. If you're going into work and I guess you already worked a little while or whatever the case may be, take the notes that I'm giving you into consideration. Whether you're a woman or a man, make sure you have extra clothing in the car, make sure you have extra clothing on you, or whatever the case may be. A lot of times I don't bring extra clothing with me, but I do make sure that I somewhat have ways to kind of protect myself and make sure that I'm good throughout that day or whatever. Whether it's just me wearing extra pads or whatever the case, having extra pads or whatever the case may be, or me just doing small monetary stuff to just make sure that I'm okay and I'm straight, or making sure that I have money where I can purchase the items that I need rather than toting those items around. Just making sure that you have extra stuff. Always make sure that you're good. So whether you're an employee or a student, whatever, please take my advice into consideration and actually try to apply it. It never hurts us to actually apply things that are beneficial to us. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about, you're going into demonic atmospheres. Demonic atmospheres. Wow. And these people, when we talk about they want to be the man, their character deals with enslavement. That devil card, that the Toro devil card, that one pull is very much real, where people want to take you into enslavement, use you as a sacrifice, want to sit up there and feed off of you. I mean, whether we sit up there and we acknowledge it or not, this is something that we're walking into. So, what's the first course of action I'm going to tell you? First course of action I'm going to tell you, we're not going to stray too far from the Bible. We're going to ingest into our spirits the Holy Spirit, and we're going to actually read the Bible. And sometimes I have to remember now, I gotten away from this and stuff like that. I got to really remember to actually start sending my children Bible texts. I actually got away from that. I haven't been sending them the message of God clearly. I haven't been actually ministering into them the way I should. And that's just now reminding me that's something that I have to do. Remember to pray. We have gotten away from praying as a culture, and I'm not very flamboyant. I'm not the one that's flamboyant and praying, but actually praying for our children as they are in these atmospheres, that God cover them, God protect them, God send legions of angels around them to look out for them, because they are actually in demonic situations. Whether we're talking about the Christian school, because the Christian school goes up under warfare because they are servants of God. The regular schools go up under warfare because they sitting up there, they know that our children, believers children, are in those schools, and our children go up under attack. So just making sure that you prepare yourself for the day. I know a lot of times parents don't encourage their children to fight. I say this, try to deal with the situation with as minimum force as possible. But if you have to do something to protect and defend yourself, God will not be mad. Trust me. And as a parent, I may be angry at the fact that you got suspended, but I have to sit up there and use the sense to know that you're doing what you need to do to protect yourself against tyranny and these tyrants that are actually running through that school, that may have been taken over mentally, physically, and emotionally. And you're doing what it takes to safeguard yourself. So when me and my children are conversating and you're telling me, hey, I'm having such and such problems and stuff like that, because you're going to deal with a bully. You're going to deal with that bull. And that bull don't want to back down. And sometimes you're going to have to put some smack down to make the bull know, look, I'm in charge. And you're not going to run over me with the foolishness. And I'm willing to protect myself to whatever extent I need to protect myself. And it's sad to say it, but it's very much true in these times, especially when you're dealing with demonic forces that say, okay, I'm going to have you one way or another. And they are not backing down. They're not going to take no for an answer. Be persistent in your studies. Be persistent in letting the enemy know that you are not a part of their people, because you're going to see a lot of things. Young girls, you're going to see young girls get pregnant in this season and stuff like that. You're going to see your friends, them thinking that certain things are cool. They want to wear short shorts that show areas that they shouldn't show. You have to cover yourself up. You have to make sure you're good. It's not about you being a little girl, or it's not about you being a little boy. It's not about you sitting up there being the opposite sex or anything. It's about you safeguarding and protecting yourself as you journey through these demonic areas and ungodly areas, making sure that you're safe in the schools. making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do to get to the next level. You're going to always come into distractions. If you're in those schools, a lot of times you're going to deal with people that's going to come up and try to distract you. Don't let them. Another thing, if you're dealing with bully situations and you may not be as ferocious as other people, sit close to the teacher. Move when there is monitoring going on or whatever the case may be, and make sure that people are vigilant of you as you're moving, because you're not as ferocious or you don't fight like other people fight. They want to fight every 5 minutes. They're ferocious. They already have designated a place for these individuals, which is terribly unfair to them, and you're not trying to blend into that culture, nor do you want to be forced to blend into that culture, because it says that, okay, your future is limited. You never want them to view you as, oh, this is my buddy, this is my friend, or whatever the case may be. None of that stuff, because the path that you're on isn't consistent with my path. Show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. So pick friends that are in alignment with the destiny that's going to take you far. All my friends, they going to college. Guess what? I'm going to college too. I might not be the smartest one, but I am smart enough to do what I got to do. And that's a success factor. I once went to college and I read a story, and it talked about two boys, one that was always applauded, one that always got straight A's, one that was always accomplished. And then it talked about the other young man. The other young man, he basically didn't get good grades. He wasn't well accomplished or whatever. But at the same time, he was definitely a thinker, and he used what he had to get where he wanted to be. And both of them were being chased by a bear. So the other kid began to calculate how far in the bear was, how long it would take the bear to approach them, and began to go at it through basically research and everything else, and probably trying to figure out a way to trap the bear or do whatever he has to do. The other young man says, okay, guess what? I'm going to lace up my shoes and I'm going to get to running. And he was a runner. And he sat up there and basically he said, look, all I'm going to do is outrun this bear, because if it gets you before it gets me, I'm good. Now, was either one of them wrong for their thought process? No. Can either one of those thought processes work? Yes, it can. But the question is, if you're not the smartest person in the room, sometimes it's not for you to outthink everybody. It's for you to actually utilize what you have and what you know at your grasp to get to the next level. Okay, I'm not as smart as you, but I know if I study, I can actually develop my learning and become smarter than other people. So guess what? I'm going to sit up there, I'm going to lace up my tennis shoes, and I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to get to learning. And I'm going to sit up here and do the best that I possibly can. And like I told my son, and I'm telling you guys, do the best that you can do. And once you have done all that you can do, put it in the hands of God. Because some of these battles, we're not meant to fight constantly and consistently, because that's a trick of demonic forces to keep us weak and to keep us caught up into confusion that we can't notice what's going on around us. But if we sit up there and we say, okay, I have done everything that I could possibly do within my intellect, within my intelligence, within my forces, within my power, within what I am capable of doing, then I have done what I'm supposed to do. Now it's time for me to put it in the hands of God. God, I'm giving it to you. I'm done. I fought my good fight. I fought a courageous battle, and I did the best that I could possibly do with the battle that I was facing, whether it's education, whether it's the legal system, whether it's anything else. Just continue to do what you can do, and at the end of the day, you're left with what you did. And if once God removes the weeds, the tares, and everything else that kept you and prevented you from growing, guess what happened? You're left with your work. You're left with your accomplishments. You're left with what you did, and it begins to change. But if you don't do the work, then you can't inherit the rewards of not doing the work. Sometimes it hurts, man. It hurts me. I don't think this is fair. It's probably not fair. It's probably not fair that you have to pay for your education and another child gets to ride for free. It's not fair. But at the same time, put your big girl boots on, your big boy boots on, tighten up, soldier, and do what you have to do to reach the accomplishments that you want to reach in this lifetime. We're dealing with demonic times. We're dealing with switches. We're dealing with tears. We're dealing with weeds. It feels like it's choking the life out of you because you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, and yet and still you haven't inherited your reward after you have went through the flame, the fire, and everything else. And it's unfair. But judgment day comes. And when judgment day comes, that means that you're supposed to receive a reward. But guess what? The enemy don't care if you receive your reward or not. You have to care. You have to keep consistent. You have to keep working and doing what you got to do, because sometimes our enemies pretend to be friends. Be careful. Don't go out with people even though they're pretending to be your friend. If one time they showed you they ain't for you, they're not for you. You don't have to show me 3-4 times that you're not for me. I already know you're not for me. If I'm forced to tolerate you, I will tolerate you. But if I can get you out of my atmosphere and I don't have to tolerate you, I will not tolerate you at all. Because it only takes one time for me to see your face for who you are. Because you can show me two faces a million different times, but guess what? I already know what you are. I'm putting you in the category where you are. I might be forced to deal with you, but I'm putting you in the place where you belong. I might have to sit up there and be clever with my dealings with you. But at the same time, I know what you are. So a lot of times when your friends start asking you, hey, you want to go out with us? Nah, I can't go out with you. I don't want my life taken away from me because I'm hanging out with the wrong people who are not for me and don't care what happens to me. So sometimes saying no, oh, I want to go to this party, everybody's going, and saying no, I'm not going to that party, even though everybody's going, even though it's the most happening party of the year. And guess what? People are going to come back and they're going to say, man, we had a good time. And next time, man, why don't you come? And next time, I want you to approach it in the same manner. I'm not going. A man that finds the life loses the life. A man that loses the life finds the life. You can go out there and you can go enjoy yourself and lose your life enjoying yourself. This is biblical. A lot of our children right now, they're going to parties and they're losing their lives. Why are you losing your life? Because guess what? Them demons is showing up at that party in those friends that you call yourself had, which you didn't know that they weren't in alignment with your mindset, because you're a child of God. You came from godly people. Even if you have chosen to be atheists and you came from the people of God, there are certain gifts and certain things that radiate through you as an atheist that they can't touch, but they see it in you. And although you have chosen to align yourself with them, you are still shown as God's people. And therefore, they don't like what they see in you. I don't care how much you try to force yourself to fit. You're not going to fit what they want you to be, because you will always be a traitor to them, because their lifestyle is demonic and yours was called to be so much different. And if you're not willing to accept the fact that you're called to be different, guess what? You accept it when you go through your awakening period, where you wake up and you start to realize that people that I thought was for me wasn't for me. People that I thought cared about me didn't care about me. People that I thought was going to do right by me didn't do right by me. So when they sitting up there, they talking about, oh, we going out to the club, we going to the office, we going to the strip club, we're going to all these different places. I remember I worked, like I said, in corrections. And working in corrections, I'm constantly hearing them talking about, oh, we going to the club, we going to the office, we going to the strip club. Man, we finna turn everything out. And I was constantly asked, do you want to go with us? No. No, I'm not going there. No, I'm not going with y'all. And at that time, I'm out in the world. I got a boyfriend. I got a whole boyfriend at home. I'm sitting up there. I'm committing sexual sins and all kinds of stuff. I'm not living nowhere near what I'm supposed to be living. But yet and still, thank God for the intervention to give me common sense to tell them, no, I'm not going with y'all. Because there were stories that came back about girls that was basically raped by multiple officers at those parties and all kinds of other stuff that took place. And that's something that I don't want to introduce into my life. So this is something that can happen with you when you're playing football and stuff like that. When you're playing basketball, when you're just going doing your regular activities too. So you got to be careful with yourself. You got to really guard yourself, because guess what? If they ain't getting you at the party, they trying to get you while you're doing your everyday activities. I go to work, I come home. So where you trying to get me at? You trying to get me at work. I go to school, I come home. I go to school, I play basketball. I go to school, I study after school or whatever. Where you trying to get me? You trying to get me after school? You trying to get me while I'm playing basketball? You trying to get me into school? Because other than that, you don't have access to me. And you don't have the privilege to have access to me. So make sure that you're making wise decisions. I know the party may be hype. I know that everything may be hype. Sometimes these football games we go to, we got to be careful. Some of this stuff is predatory. Some of this stuff you're not going to remember. Lights go off and lights go on, baby. Blackouts happen. You can be blacked out at any time. You can go through the point where you're blacked out and you're on a standstill mode or whatever the case may be, and you're in the wrong atmosphere. And guess what? Some of everything and anything is going down. See, a lot of them aren't talking about demonic possession like they need to talk about it, and how it has control over you because you're working at certain places and you're living a demonic life. I remember going into work environments that was demonic. I remember a woman walking up to me. She was like, you're going to have you a boyfriend. You're going to have you a man after a while. You're going to find yourself wanting to be with a man, or whatever the case may be. You can curse me all day, sweetheart. I'm going to show you something. I didn't have a desire to be with a man, woman, child, or anything else, sweetheart. I'm good all by myself. Apostle Paul says it's better to be alone. So no, I don't have a husband. No, I don't sit up there and I don't engage in homosexual activities. No, I don't engage in any form of hoism whatsoever. No, I don't have a lust for children. No, I don't have any of these problems. So when you start speaking certain stuff, know what you're dealing with. And a lot of it, I had to walk into demonic working places and actually take a crown of Christ and show them we rep and represent Jesus Christ as I did it. Represent the crown as I did it. Represent the fact that I'm a child of the kingdom as I did it. And guess what? I don't have to plead innocent blood to get where I got to go. I'm pleading the fact that my bloodline aligns with that innocent blood that you killed, and let you know that my blood is pure and it's innocent, and I'm going to do what God say do. And I go into warfare representing my God and doing what God has called for me to do. So I ain't got to sit up there and talk about blood of Jesus, happy that he was slain. No, I don't have to rep that. Because guess what? I know that same mess that you're talking about, you happy that Jesus is slain, you will slay me too. Because me and Jesus repping the same thing. And if you want to slay him, you're going to slay me too. And that's not something that I'm for. So I am very smart and cautious about the way I deal with stuff because I realize that we go into warfare on these jobs. Guess what? And some of these people are high up in the church. And because they're ranking in the ministry, we go through attacks in employment. We go through attacks in the school systems. We go through attacks as we enter into the public. We go through attacks as we enter into the stores and certain stuff. So I am very cautious with myself, knowing what I'm up against, knowing the warfare I have to face from day to day to actually get through the day. My enemies want me comatose. Guess what? To a certain degree, I am. But guess what? Whether I am able to move or not move, I'm going to still be repping Christ and doing what God has called for me to do. So be smart. Don't compromise yourself. Sometimes we're in the hands of the enemy for years and years and years and years. I might be in the hands of the enemy for centuries. It's up to me to sit up there and serve my God while I'm in your hands. I'm in the hands of the enemy, demonic cities, communities, whatever the case may be, for years and years and years and years. But I'm going to serve my God while I'm in your hands, while I'm in territory of the enemy. I'm going to give worship to God. I am going to praise God. I'm going to do what God has called for me to do. And I'm telling my children to do the same thing. Rep your God. Don't let them see anything different. They will have you out there half naked. I have been in situations where my skirt was so short, you could see happy hour. Now you can't pay me to put that mess on. And this is real. So there is a redemption and a resurrection for that which is innocent and that which is called by Christ and the children of the kingdom. So don't ever forsake that. But it's a hard battle when you have been away for so long and not having the proper counsel around you. So be smart. Don't go to those parties. Don't go to those clubs. Everybody like the club. That club is going to hit you with that lotus flower and you done with. You on sleep mode permanently. Stay woke. How you going to stay woke? Stay from that club. Stay from them parties. Stay from them gatherings that are demonic. Focus on God. Stay from them improper invitations into societies that are unacceptable and orders that are unacceptable, because their demands and their orders is what they have expectations for you to fulfill. And if those orders your life don't align with, don't get involved with it, because it will divide you. And you will have to deal with all the different choices that you made that was unacceptable because you was gathered as a group thinking it was okay. Young kids die. We're seeing this every day at these parties. Don't go. Young kids go through. Don't go. I remember seeing one video on YouTube. They were showing one young girl sitting up there listening to another young girl say, "Please let me go. Please let me go. Stop doing this to me. Let me go." And she's at a party. And she's recording herself at the party and talking about they got what they deserve and all kinds of stuff. I don't know why they here. You invited that person there. But guess what? They're going through because of you. A lot of these young women and young men, this is not what they're going to tell you and talk to you about, but I'm going to make it known to you. A lot of these young women and men, they talking about they want to date you and know that they're already with somebody else, and they're in these little coded societies as young people. And they have already devoted themselves to an order, to a group of people. They have devoted themselves to that. And they will get away with a lot of stuff that they're not supposed to do. You're not that privileged. Guard yourself. Guard your own life. We have guardians that are assigned to the area that are in warfare for your life right now, that goes to battle for your life every day as they fight for their own. But you will have to still guard your own life to a certain extent because of the overwhelming challenges that most guardians of the area have to go through. So be careful with yourself. Do not be accepting of people you know that are evil. Tolerate them as much as you can tolerate them and get from around them. Try not to show your disapproval or your approval of their behavior at all, because either one can expose you to a possession. Keep your opinions to yourself and get from around them. They know your stance, they know your position very well. They have been in observation of you for years, so they already know if you're accepting or disaccepting. They're just monitoring and watching just to see what your behavior patterns would be, whether you're accepting or disaccepting. Don't give them anything and remove yourself from their atmosphere. Report any criminal activity that you may know. Whether they do time or not, that's not my problem. My problem is just reporting and covering my own behind and taking care of my own self, making sure that I'm safe. I say this to tell you, don't get involved, because guess what? If you're in that atmosphere, I didn't rob the bank. I just drove the car. You're still going down for driving the doggone car. Don't drive the car. Don't rob the bank. Get out the vehicle. Walk away. Hopefully these words encourage you, children. Stay blessed. And this is not just for my children. This is for people to encourage all of us, because we're children of the kingdom. We're children of the King. We're children of God. And God loves us, man. And I love you guys too. And I know that y'all called to actually do greater things, being mankind. And we have to sit up there and we have to walk in that calling. Stay blessed.